When we watched Kung Fu Panda as kids, the main character seemed obvious. I mean, it's right there in the title. But what if I told you Po isn't the only panda in this story? If you rewatch the movie today, you'll notice a massive narrative illusion. Nobody actually changes. The story feels straightforward. The clumsy, poor-hearted fanboy stays poor-hearted. The villain stays the villain. The wise turtle stays wise. The Furious Five, you get that point. Globally, literally nobody in the original movie experiences any real character growth, except one, the Red Panda. The master whose toxic ambition make him the absolute architect of every disaster in the first movie and the only character who walks a brutal path from ruin to redemption. Master Shifu.
It was an accident. There are no accidents.
Fun fact, in the real life, red pandas were discovered and named long before giant pandas. So historically, Shifu is the original panda. And in the first movie, he is the original source of every single disaster. If you ask someone who's the villain of the first movie is, their answer tells you exactly how they see the world. Say Tai Lung and you're watching it through the eyes of a child. Say Ogway and you're probably someone who loves to blame fate or the system when things go wrong. But the most unique case is Master Shifu. He is the architect of his own misery. To understand why Shifu is the true root of the first movie, we need to look at the timeline of his trauma. And it all starts with the ultimate sin, pride.
And it was my pride that blinded me. I loved you too much to see what you were becoming. What I was turning you into.
When Shifu adopted his first student, he didn't give him a regular name. He gave him a brand of expectation, Tai Lung, the Great Dragon. Just like modern parents trying to close their own unresolved psychological issues by forcing their kids to win trophies, Shifu wasn't raising a son. He was projecting an ambition. And here is the hardest pill to swallow. Shifu couldn't teach Tai Lung through Kung Fu because Shifu didn't understand it himself. If you look closely, Shifu has zero spirituality. Ugwei's mastery is shown through the deep wisdom of his words. Shifu mastery is just technique and violence. In the true mental game of Kung Fu, he is completely clueless. The control freak playing dress up. He constantly quotes ancient sages to sound profound, desperately trying to prove he belongs to that world. But his actions are foolish because he mimics the aesthetic of a wise master while completely missing the philosophy. So he didn't teach Tai Lung the philosophy of Kung Fu, he taught him pure violence. He fell in love with the perfect weapon of his own creation, and that's exactly what broke Tai Lung. It wasn't the dragon scroll. It was the moment Ugwei rejected him and his father just stood there, silent. After giving 120% of his soul to make his father proud, Tai Lung realized a horrific truth. Shifu's love was conditional.
What did you do? Nothing.
And how did Shifu react to this massive blow to his ego? Did he reflect? Did he learn? No. He shut down like a disgruntled corporate clerk. Look at his next students. He makes the absolute worst conclusion. He assumes that love was the problem. So he strips his new students of their identities completely. Tigress, mantis, crane, monkey, viper. No real names, just a biological functions. Terrified of having his heart broken again, Shifu cut out whatever tiny bit of philosophy he had left. He turned the Furious Five into dry, emotionally hardened mechanics of war. Soulless soldiers who mastered martial arts but never understood true Kung Fu.
Well done, students. If you were trying to disappoint me.
And seeing what Shifu was doing to the next generation, the wise turtle Ugwei realized he had to intervene. He needed to create a chaotic situation to force his blind student to finally open his eyes. He needed a huge example of himself.
The panda will never fulfill his destiny, nor you yours, until you let go of the illusion of control.
Let's look at Shifu when Po first arrives at the Jade Palace. He acts like a loyal servant of Uguay, but in reality, he is a saboteur inside the system. Shifu is the ultimate toxic middle manager. He submits to authority, but he doesn't actually believe in it. Years ago, when Uguay rejected Tai Lung, Shifu didn't step back because he understood Uguay's wisdom. He stepped back out of blind respect for authority. He was simply afraid to go against Uguay because to him, going against Uguay means going against Kung Fu itself. And he does the exact same thing with Po. When Uguay chooses the panda, Shifu doesn't openly rebel. Instead, he uses passive aggression. He tortures Po, hoping the panda will just quit on his own. He obeys the system, but he does everything in his power to secretly destroy it from the inside. Weisi rides through this. He knows the explaining philosophy to Shifu is useless, words are just empty air to him. So, on his deathbed, Uguay gives Shifu one final impossible lesson. He doesn't ask Shifu to understand, he forces him to believe. Make a dragon warrior out of him.
If anyone could change me, could make me not me, it was you! The greatest kung fu teacher in all of China!
And here begins one of the greatest arcs of redemption in cinematic history. To train Po, Shifu has to do something he has never done before. He has to kill his own ego. For the first time in his life, he doesn't force a student to fit a rigid, perfect mold. He adapts his teaching to the student. He forces himself to bend to the situation. He uses food, he uses play, he finally starts teaching through Kung Fu. Which brings us to the absolutely genius of the Dragon Scroll. The scroll is a blank, it's just a mirror. Why did this break Tai Lung's mind? Because when Tai Lung looked in the mirror, there was nothing to see. His holy grail turned out to be just an ordinary reflection of who he was. And for Tai Lung, that was a mirage. He was just a phantom of desired success, forged by his father. But when Paul looked into the mirror, he just saw a panda, and that was enough. The result of the final battle didn't matter. There is no traditional victory here, simply because Shifu is still alive. He hasn't fully processed what just happened. And his core temperament hasn't magically changed. When Shifu finally let go of his pride, his expectation and his illusion of control, he still tried to act dramatic, to keep up appearance, but in reality, he gained what he had been chasing his entire life, the ability to transform. Because the ultimate rules of Kung Fu Panda isn't the physical rebirth, it's mental. It's the ability to shatter the very pillars of your own beliefs. He started this story as a monster, a toxic father, and the architect of everyone's suffering. But through the ultimate test of humility, he broke his own curses. He finally understood the philosophy he spent decades faking. He became a true master, the original Kung Fu Panda.